Welcome back. Here we are. It's us. Cooperative Conversations. That's what we call ourselves, despite nobody else doing it. And we're here today playing Dark Souls 2 to get through this, the Undead Crypt. That's what it's called. It's a big place, very large, filled with things.
Anything as fun as a giant boulder made of skeletons?
Maybe.
Guess
Like we
that's only one
discussed,
thing to do.
selective recollection.
Ah, understandable. Have a nice day.
I
So I
do know of something. I know that there's a blue man in here.
Excellent. Oh, hey, look at that. They wander. And away he goes. What the heck is this? Ah,
Uh-oh.
is that oil?
Now you're all oily. Better go say hi to that guy with the torch.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, remember that interaction they used back in No Man's Wharf? Oh.
Is this a fucking
Well,
Metal Gear setup?
I have bad news.
Hmm.
That guy was friendly.
Oh, okay. Well, he shouldn't have been wandering around with a torch. Suspiciously.
He wanders around with the torch so you don't have to.
Look, he was a very suspicious individual. And I acted in the best. Wow. Okay. Alright, we're doing this. Oh, this takes me back. PvP and all that.
Yep. Don't it just.
Oh, I've been poisoned. And set alight and hit by dark bolts. I am dead.
So I never did ask, how was
Okay.
Shrine of Amana for you?
I mean, that was not great. It was just not great. I would have made different choices had I been responsible for the development of this game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But this feels like a real slap to the face after Shrine of Amana, just to really, like, you know, bring it home. What even is the intended strat here? Like,
You know, to kill all of these enemies.
okay, there's no cover. And you have to, like, zigzag to get to them. Alright. This area is just the worst. Ow, that lasts a long time.
And you walked right into it, didn't you?
Yeah.
See, the thing about Dark Souls that sets it apart from other video games is how hard it is. And,
Right.
you know, it's a very hard video game. Which means that if you
Yes.
play it and you're good at it, you're a real gamer. Which is
Uh-huh.
why it's hard.
Right.
Right, that's
So,
what Dark Souls was about. So Dark Souls 2, right, is got to be even harder.
Uh-huh.
Because,
So-
like... Oh, here he is! He's good. Yeah! Yeah, nice! We like this guy. He's our friend.
Alright, well, let's hope he survives.
That'll be up to
So,
you swinging that big sword around. Oh,
Oh,
god.
excellent.
Oh god, I set the
Oh,
I set the
boy.
oil on fire. That's my fault. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'm probably not gonna make it. So, you've spoken before about how poison arrows are the answer to a lot of problems that arise in this game.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like a lot of the areas in this game punish you for not using a ranged option.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up slap your hand for having the audacity to not bring a bow.
Poison. Just took the fucking poison loss off my belt last video.
Yep. This honks majorly. So, hey. That sucked.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something different for a little bit to distract me from how bad that sucked. I've been contemplating the breastplate that I'm wearing. Oh, dialogue. Okay, well, he's bearing light, so I hope he makes it.
You wanna go up there? At all?
No, I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Well, wait, you mean in the here? Can you get up there?
Yeah,
Oh, there's stairs.
Staircase.
I missed them entirely.
You should go up there. See the guy.
Okay. Where's the guy? There's the guy. You're blue.
Halt. Human, do not produce light. Light, and all those who bear it, are unwelcome in this place. I am Ugdane, guardian of the crypt. Countless dead rest here in peace, cradled by the comfort of dark. Light only agitates. We have no need for it here. I am a finito. We weave death and watch over the dead. This task was granted to me by the one who gave us the first death. Countless souls rest here. Some of them from ages long ago. Some were rich, others poor, some wise, some dull, but now they're all just dead. Did you come for him? The one called Vendrick. You will find him deeper inside. Many castle servants and the like have come to fetch their lord. But they rest here now, put to death by the king's own guards. Perhaps he's not in the mood for company. In the past, humans were one with the dark. The former king of light, he feared humans. Feared that they would usher in an age of dark. How queer you humans. How you go on, never separating truth from fiction. This place is welcome to all, provided due reverence is shown. Death is equitable, accepting. We will all one day be welcomed by her embrace. Tell me what you desire. Show me reverence, and I will lend you my hand.
He has a lot of dialogue. Shield of the Insolent, eh? Also, he called me queer. I don't cotton to that kind of talk. Yeah, we'll buy
Hang
it.
on a second.
What?
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember if my character's always had a beard. YouTube comments,
Okay,
tell me if my character has always had a beard. I've been playing this game so long I forget, and would not be surprised if it had grown out of the sheer amount of time that has passed.
Excellent.
It also might just be that I never really see it, because like the glare from being a phantom is so strong.
That's also possible. So, before we were distracted by the finito, breastplates. I have been distracted by mine.
I'm gonna let you
Dark
have that one.
Souls. Yep. So Dark Souls, and not just this game, but the series at large, falls into the trap that a lot of fantasy fiction falls into, where they make breastplates very long, much longer than they were historically. Because, you know, breastplates were... Is there like a platform I can drop down to there? Or that looks like death. Let's not...
Well,
that.
what if you put on a silver cat ring?
I can't even see the bottom. Like, that doesn't...
Oh, I can. It's right there.
Alright, well, ring it up. Anyway, breastplates.
I don't know, maybe you shouldn't trust me.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't on that one.
I don't want to be seen
Breastplate.
as giving you malicious advice.
Breastplates are often stretched out in fiction, which is worth noting not just as a grumbly grognard, oh, it's not realistic thing. It's, you can't actually bend if your breastplate is this long. You can't bend at the torso,
Yeah.
waist area, which is kind of a vital function.
This area. Hey, would you believe me if I told you this was a reference to Kingsfield?
Honestly, I kind of would, knowing what I know about Kingsfield's aesthetic. Like, I've seen you play Kingsfield. This looks like a Kingsfield area. Whoa! Hi there, buddy, who just materialized. Maybe you were there the whole time?
No. Most certainly, we're not.
Alright.
So this is like somewhat a reference to Kingsfield.
Uh-huh.
There's an area in Kingsfield 4 where you just fight a shit ton of skeletons. And they're like being raised and you have to do a thing.
Excellent.
But yes, you have figured it out. If you break the statues, the ghostmen do not show up.
Okay. Alright, well...
However, there is an amount of things to be aware of in this room, such as this ladder over here. Excuse me. I hiccuped. Or hiccoughed, as some other nationalities might say.
Evidently, my ladder-sized sword is not strong enough to smash these statues.
So,
Just full of distractions today.
there's a bonfire right over this way,
Do love those.
right?
Let's go light that, just so we've got it.
And
Excellent.
then over here is a ladder.
Was there a ladder? Oh, so there was. I missed it completely. So, just to cap off my thought about breastplates, whenever you're looking at a work of fantasy fiction, and people are wearing plate mail, take a look at the breastplate. Take a look at how long it is. Think to yourself, could he actually bend at the waist if he was wearing that? The answer is often no.
Also, another thing that I have a pet peeve. Is chainmail. People watching might be familiar with that game, The Witcher 3, which I didn't like, but that's a story for another time. But in it, Gerald uses chainmail a lot, and it's all very tightly cinched and like edged in leather. The thing about chainmail is that a lot of its protective capabilities comes from its ability to deform as it is struck in order to absorb blows, much like crumple zones on a car. And it's also typically worn over a padded gambeson, which is literally just, it's like a sweatshirt that is like a bulletproof vest, except probably not bulletproof. It's just a big lump of fabric padding, and it's meant to protect you from being stabbed or slashed, anything like that.
Hit with a mace or a hammer.
Yeah, still will certainly hurt, but the idea with
yes.
chainmail is that it was supposed to be worn somewhat baggy, so that it could absorb more of that by the time it actually struck the gambeson, so there was less force to go into the gambeson through it into you. Anyway, that's 1,365 damage.
Not bad.
Nameless Usurper, kind of a dick.
What a scrub. Died in like a second. I thought that was some weird interaction with like that wall ghost, but he was not the invader. Oh, look at that, sure enough.
Yeah, good find.
Oh, look at that. Tried to trick me. But yeah, it's... People generally don't really understand historic armor in a way that they should. Oh, hi there.
Oh, you got.
Historic... Yeah, I got.
Clearly should just be better at this video game.
Right? Ooh, an Avalon. I do like those. Yeah, historic arms and armor usually get a weird rap. Another good one is archers being depicted as placing their arrows on the right side or the left side, whichever side is like on the inside and not the outside, basically, which takes a lot of time, extra time to do, when you could easily just place it on the outside and fire the next shot. Bows weren't traditionally precision weapons. Oh, that's not good. I don't like the look of that. They could be used with precision, certainly, right? But they would, in warfare, they were generally used for volley fire. They weren't.
Precision archery is for hunting. When you have, 900 other archers, you just put 900 arrows into the air.
Don't know where I was aiming there.
Another
one that usually peeves me is the way bludgeoning weapons are depicted in fiction. Hammers, war hammers, are usually shown to be these big, like, crushing mauls. All right, what's going on
this
here?
Thing.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, like the thing that Reckon here is using. Yeah, which would be horrendously unbalanced and unwieldy and difficult to swing.
So the thing, and this is going to get into one of my not really pet peeves, but just like a thing I have to say about bladed weapons. Energy. Kinetic energy.
That stuff.
So there are types of energy, and there are probably more than the ones I'm going to talk about, but the ones I'm going to talk about are potential energy and kinetic energy. potential energy is, loosely, I'm not a physicist nor an energiologist, but potential energy is the amount of, God, I'm really gonna show how long it's been since, oh dear, hold on.
Things
How long
are
it's been
happening.
since 8th grade science class. Potential energy is how much energy a thing has the potential to transmit. A battery is full of potential energy, and it is meted out very slowly to whatever it is powering. Kinetic energy is that energy made manifest in a physical form, like when you punch someone, or hit something with a mace, or a hammer. Yeah, see, we're coming back to it finally. That's been your vague physics lesson for the day. Don't come to me for physics lessons.
Here, let me give the worst analogy possible, right? Okay? So your atoms that you're made of, right?
Oh god.
Imagine them like a bunch of billiard balls. And then a bunch of other atoms hit them and send them knocking into other billiard balls. There you go, physics.
Alright, Skull, I'm gonna need you to stop ringing that bell.
It's fun.
It is summoning more enemies.
I'm aware. So, potential and kinetic energy.
So, potential energy is what a lot of weapons base their entire premise on. Wow, fuck these guys, fuck these guys, fuck these guys.
He's dead.
You need to go further down that passageway and break the thing.
Gotcha. Got it.
So, when an old-timey soldier with a sword swings said sword, they are creating potential energy. They are imbuing the sword with such. And when it strikes, it is transformed into kinetic energy. The thing with hammers, right? The reason that your hammer that you keep in your garage or your toolbox is not a large flat piece of metal is because when that potential energy gets transformed into kinetic energy, it gets transformed into that kinetic energy in the surface area of the hammer. And if that surface area is very large, then it's going to be inefficient. It's going to be spread out along the entire thing. And it's not going to hammer anything in. You could hammer a nail in with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of steel, but it would not be efficient. It would not happen as quickly as if you were using a hammer.
You'd also likely damage the sheet.
Yes. So this is just back the way we came from.
Okay.
This was a shortcut. It's a Murphy bed. It flips out from the wall. It's a stone hinged platform because this game's a fucking cartoon.
Right.
So anyway, that is not to say that, like, a very large bludgeoning weapon like the one I'm using wouldn't be effective at hurting something, because, yeah, it's very heavy. If we know anything about physics, it's that heavy things hurt people no matter what. But the problem is, were this real life, this giant, probably close to 500-pound lump of stone I'm carrying casually on my shoulder, it's fine, would be so difficult to swing that, yeah, it would probably hurt somebody if it actually hit them, but, like, can't do it very fast. Can certainly do it in this video game because it's a video game, but even here I don't do it quickly. So, your typical war hammer in historical settings, excuse me, is not going to be a large lunchbox-sized lump of iron. And historical warhammers were, in fact, heads of metal not entirely any larger than a regular-ass claw hammer you can buy at Home Depot now. They were just on longer poles. The longer pole, of course, being for allowing better leverage during the swing, which creates more potential energy.
In addition to putting you at a further distance from your foe.
Yes. So, the thing about hammers is that they don't need to be particularly heavy to really hurt somebody and even potentially kill them. If you stick the head of a claw hammer onto a 3-foot-long pole, you're gonna mess up someone's day if you hit them with it.
Another thing regarding this is that the small heads of the hammers, it's not just about potential energy in terms of like point of impact and efficiency. A big part of making them smaller and putting more force into a smaller point is that if your opponent is wearing armor made of steel, it will concentrate that force into a much smaller point and not transfer it across the breadth of the armor. Again, imagine cue balls, right? It's like all of the energy is going to be spread across the armor and not go through the armor and into the guy underneath, which is what you want.
Ah, here, yeah, I'm glad you summoned this guy, because we get to see the popsicle sword. Speaking of unwieldy lumps of whatever...
It's even worse than the one I'm using. That's special.
This sword's actually quite good, however.
Oh,
and
excellent.
That brings me to the point I wanted to make after this cutscene.
Oh, the cartoon blood effect.
Yeah.
About to end my kill streak. This guy looks pretty cool.
Right?
I like what you got going on. He's wearing a bell.
And
anyway.
He's using a bell.
Royal Aegis son.
So... Ow.
Hammers.
Well, you were talking about energy at the point of impact.
Yes.
The classic European straight sword, great visual, right? Really just like no frills, lovely looking weapon. I'm a big fan myself.
I am too.
So, people love katanas, right?
They sure do.
We wanna stop that from happening. Damage what we can. He's now powered up.
Alright.
So people are always like, oh man, katanas versus European broadsword or longsword. That's not the correct comparison. The correct comparison is katana versus Spanish cavalry saber. Because the thing about a curved sword, the Egyptian kopis, the Middle Eastern scimitar, the cutlass from, I believe, just general England, Europe, France. Probably it sounds like a French word.
The saber.
That's what I started with.
Yeah. Yep. The
Velstep is not
another,
fucking
like,
around when he's powered up, by the way.
No, I've noticed this. I'm not happy with it. Oh, here he goes.
Well,
Wasn't expecting the projectiles.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting the projectiles. Right, so...
I suppose I'll just keep talking so we don't lose too much track here.
Yeah.
So, curved swords, right? Insert Skyrim voice clip. I'm not gonna hunt it down. Curved swords are curved because they allow you to transmit all of that energy from an entire sword swing, right from the elbow all the way down, slashing through the air, very, very classic thing, into a much smaller surface area because it's curved, which means that the initial point of impact is much smaller, which makes them better slashing weapons. A straight sword will slash just fine. It'll get all your slashing needs, it'll stab, it'll let you, like, smack people with the flat of the blade. It's great. The straight sword, very versatile. Curved swords are for slashing, and they're very good at it. So, the comparison is not katana versus longsword. The comparison is katana versus kopis, cavalry saber, cutlass, falchion, and let's not kid ourselves, any of those beat the katana because the iron that gets turned into steel is better quality.
It's true. There's a reason that the historic samurai made their armor out of wood and leather.
Yeah. And it was effective. Not saying it wasn't. Also, the real answer, even beyond, like, you're comparing the wrong blades, is that it doesn't matter because those two nations never fought each other in a mass conflict at that period of time.
They even, like, the technology level was even disparate between the comparison, right?
Yeah.
What bonfire am I meeting you at?
The
Undead
very
Ditch?
first one.
Yeah, I'm at the very first one. I don't see your sign.
Ah, well, let's cut this segment short then, because you
Yep.
need to help me through the initial area.
Right.
Alright, let's do that again.
Only this time, less tediously.
Yeah, we have the shortcut, so all we need to do is run up and across. Up and across, and then in. Yeah, this isn't the right way, Skull.
Oh, okay. See, that's my brain doing its bird brain thing.
Fucking zombie sitting right in the entrance.
Yeah. See?
All we need to do is come out here, run across, kill
Okay.
an amount of enemies.
Make sure the bell ringer doesn't ring the bell. Too late.
Well,
He went straight for it. He didn't even pause to consider me.
and we discussed this while we were getting me the bonfire, but that's actually a reference to Kingsfield.
Yet again.
I find
I
it
mean, they've got
charming how many there are. Because
they've got to remind us that they're from software, right? Like, it's...
I quite enjoy. I've said it before. I really enjoy the Kingsfield games. I wish there was a fifth one. Like, they're uncomplicated
alright.
games. They don't demand a lot from you. I think they're just they're very fun to just kind of sit down and play and explore the very wide area that they tend to give you.
little
stakes-
baggage, might you say.
Yeah, the stakes are a lot lower gameplay-wise and whatnot. It's like, it's a very kind of, not mundane, but just very undemanding sort of first-person dungeon crawler. And it's good fun. I've said it before, I'll say it again right now, I do recommend people play those games. And like, if if the prospect of playing a PS1 game doesn't entice you, play Kingsfield 4. It's on the PS2. It looks really nice. And, if you can, play the North American translation. Find the NTSC version. Because, for some reason, even though both are in English, the PAL version received a different translation, and it is very bad. It's a really bad translation.
Excellent. It's that boy.
See, I can't wait to kill him on my game, because I want to start using his hammer.
His hammer that's a giant bell.
Yeah.
That has no obvious, like, concentrated striking point, like we discussed.
Considering we were just talking about that, yeah. Alright, Grave Warden... Oh, by the way, I should mention... The Grave Warden that he is, and the Grave Wardens that were around him, were in fact the same Grave Wardens we saw in Earthen Peak. Because I guess they were there for reasons. Why? I don't know. Damage phase. Cool, thanks.
We'll just let the Warden have a... Okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, he flinched. I was expecting that to be some sort of horrible explosion that would maim me.
No. What is this, Dark Souls 3?
Oh, I'm so dead. Oh,
Rather you
never
weren't.
mind. He had me in a corner, and he looked like he was winding up for another swing. That hit me, apparently.
Yep.
And the next one's gonna kill me.
Oh,
okay, cool.
no! Once more unto the bell. Ask not who tolled the bell, for it was you who tolled the bell. And unto the bell ye shall deliver ringing. I'm not actually that well versed in a lot of classic literature.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not exactly a huge Walt Whitman fan.
Oh, is that who wrote that?
I have no idea, and that's what makes it funny.
I mean, I've read some Sylvia Plath.
I just don't read poetry in general. I don't enjoy it.
My dad writes poetry, and it's quite good. He used to recite to me as a young baby version of myself.
Oh, well, look at the learned man whose youth was spent experiencing poetry dictated to him. I guess that's not the correct term.
I mean, like, it was the poetry he wrote. It's very, I don't know how to describe poetry, like, if it's particularly susceptible to genre definition, but I would describe it in my own way, in my own ignorance, as fantasy. A lot of, like, classic folklore stories being woven. Oh, look. You can see right through that bit of geometry. If you tilt your camera a certain way, you can see the fog gate on the other end of the boss room.
Oh, good grief. Alright.
I should mention, since I haven't mentioned it in a while, we are well beyond the point where I remember what enemy placements were changed with the Scholar version. Thanks, Velstat. I only remember one that we haven't gotten to yet, and I go back and look, and in fact I started to, except it seems like the person whose run I had watched previously for reference has made those videos private.
Excellent.
So I can't help you anymore, I'm sorry.
He's really taken into that grave warden, huh?
I will say that while I intend to run Skell through the expansions that came out for this game, I will not be putting forward the suggestion that we immediately go for Scholar Edition.
I would reject the idea entirely.
I think maybe doing it someday might be in the cards, but I'm not excited about the prospect. I think I've made it clear that while this game is not something I'd actually consider, like, bad, I've played it enough, and I'm doing this playthrough for your benefit, Skell. Not to make you sound like a charity case, but I wanted to show you this game.
Yeah.
And I thought it would make a good topic for this show as we turned it into a real show. I'm sick of that fucker hitting me even though he shouldn't be able to.
And it'll certainly be, you know, it's we've had some conversations about some very interesting topics, I feel. I'm picking the next one though.
Well, we've already decided on the next one, and hopefully it'll be out by the time we finish this game, because we still have a lot of game to go through.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Good work, and I'm not going to announce it yet, because it might change. We might have to do something else in the meantime. But we'll talk about it closer to the end of this game. And speaking of the end, I believe it is time for this episode to end.
This ring is the symbol of the king. Use it to gain passage through the king's gate and venture to the far east. Bearer of the curse, If you are to be the next monarch, then one day you will walk those grounds without really knowing why.
So,
And a good time was had by all.
farewell. Like I said last time, I'm cutting out the portions of me doing it. Collecting dialogue and whatever, I'll just splice it in as I've been doing. And, yeah, just trying to keep stuff down, not waste anybody's time anymore. So, this has been myself and Skelzor cooperatively conversing about Dark Souls 2. Thank you very much for watching, and farewell.
Fare thee well.